P.O.C. Quiet enjoyment, violation, stalking with engineered light, and the state of stalking in a helicopter. While Title 18 criminal conduct is underway, they're observing exactly what I'm reviewing about the ways in which the LAPD and Dominic Choi are going to be permanently removed. And the people of the state that live at Alvarado Gardens group stalking with the state of California by virtue of this crossing path and amplification of audible activity, which is also criminal facilitation, and all the demons that are in this engineered light that are group stalking inside of a private space. This is a prosecution for the sex offense by the state that is indeed in focusing their helicopter activity in the same location where the fake sun is concentrating. That fake sun is concentrating its presence right here over me. And in real time, as I'm reviewing the presence of the light source that is at 10:48 in the morning in Chino Hills, California, in its zenith over the top of my head, in the same manner that you see it here, which is where the entity maintains this light source. It's not going to be over the Chino Branch Library. It's not even going to be on the opposite side of this apartment complex over my head as I'm standing in front of building 1808, which is what I documented yesterday at 10:44 in the morning. While I'm reviewing that, and this entity that's engaged in Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, with simultaneity to reviewing that very damning and probative evidence pursuant to the pattern of the demon-possessed entity that is group stalking and also engaging in surveillance on the venue of the internet, with simultaneity, which is the outward demonstration of demon possession that is stalking immediately. It's also a show of hostility by a demon-possessed entity that is group stalking you, threatening your life by stalking in helicopters. And it is stalking while the entity is maintaining the specific environment. It is stalking when you are documented as maintaining a record of targeting your presence in helicopter activity, not only audibly, which is demonic while you're at a distance and I can see the helicopter, but I would not be able to hear it. In other words, there's no logical reason or natural reason where I should be interrupted by my quiet enjoyment should be interfered with while the demons are at a great distance stalking in a helicopter, which is also going to suggest, if you want to argue there, they're using more than one helicopter, which is equally interfering with quiet enjoyment. It is occurring in the specific environment. Under all facts, the entity is engaging in Title 18 with the people of the state. The demons that are speaker companies, Heather Till's going to federal prison. So is the documented group stalker, Maria Solis Alvarez, Selena Robledo, and Carla Lopez. And this is engineered light. That's not the product of any sunlight. And with simultaneity to what they are all witnessing my review on my phone, which is criminal surveillance on the venue of the internet, an independent basis for federal prison, and Dominic Choi and the demon-possessed terrorist organization, not a law enforcement agency, using helicopters 24/7 to keep an American citizen under surveillance for no lawful purpose and then seeking to further threaten their lives, while group stalkers such as Access, who are stalking me in the path yesterday after 2 o'clock in the afternoon where this light source remains over me today. That's not the sun. 11:12, it's currently 10:19. 11:12, 4 hours from now, the sun is not going to maintain position at the same address, and it's also not going to be directly over my head, which this is exactly where the light source is going to be, distinct from being anywhere over the office, over the center of the parking lot over my head. Very clear. When I point the camera outside of my bedroom window, the sun is never at a distance over the parking lot. It's directly over the top of my head, just like you see it here, directly over the top of my head, which is pointing to who the entity is group stalking, and that is me. That's what Access was doing, and that's why the driver of that Access vehicle representing LA County, a threat directly communicated by the state, going out of its way to engage in group stalking directly in concert with the people of the state in the same way that they are right now in a specific environment with real-time knowledge of what it is that I'm documenting, and everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison for their engagement in what is 24-hour surveillance in relevant position and on communication devices on the internet with the population that's engaging in the demonic elements of monitoring in concert with that state that uses helicopters to terrorize, harass, and target an American citizen. It is currently 10:20 a.m. The maintenance of this light source is not going to be capable of seeing in this manner at 10:36, 10:44 when I am on the opposite side of this apartment complex. I am in the parking lot where the dumpsters are, where Universal Waste is, for example, in the center of the parking lot group stalking. As I captured on video yesterday in the morning, and I'm not at my apartment, which is building 1806, I'm at the entrance of my leasing office in between 1810 and building 1808, which I cannot see the sun while it's in this position in an entirely different area of the property, and that's where it remains while I'm at my leasing office. The entity is maintaining this light source on the opposite side of the apartment building. So in the same way, at 6 o'clock in the evening, while the light source is outside of my bedroom window, it is not seen outside of the living room window. This is the entity maintaining the light source in this position. But yesterday, when I'm at the leasing office and I'm walking in the parking lot, this alleged sun is not in a position to be seen outside of this living room window. If that's the sun, then it's going to be over the opposite side of this apartment complex while it's maintaining this position. Same central position over me, but over the opposite side of the apartment complex, which is what I'm documenting. And I'm going to show you that at the same exact time, and you're going to pay attention to what happens. There's no movement of this light source. It remains right here, which you already know that. That's how I'm able to capture 3 hours from now at 1:58 in the afternoon. The light source is still remaining in this manner over the top of my head as I step outside of my apartment complex. Excuse me, on my apartment front door right here. And that's called stalking with the fake sun. And that's how you know that those are not just stalkers that are the LAPD, those are demon-possessed stalkers, and so are all of the people of the state who maintain audible activity in the unnatural environment, and all of their behavior is now unveiled. It's not natural at all. You're dealing with a mentally deranged population who are all demon-possessed, and they are group stalking together. Group stalking is the corporate maintenance of elements for monitoring light activity, relevant positioning, that is a population maintaining presence on an ongoing basis ceaselessly. These are also violent sex offenders who maintain positioning around you, even in the bathroom, while they are corporately invading your privacy. That is the prosecution of the state of California for being an exceedingly violent sex offender in concert with the people of the state who are never taking a break for purposes of your privacy. They are engaging in the same demonic and psychotic pattern of conduct, including in helicopters, while my panties are down, while I'm engaging in any sort of private or personal activity. There is no pause, which you have witnessed that. The entity engages in more sexual violence to the contrary, which I've also specifically documented. The entity maintains real-time knowledge of any and everything that I'm doing, going out of its way to communicate a sexually violent and predatory threat while engaging in the audible stalking conduct in a helicopter while my panties are down. That's intentional conduct. It is as intentional as the engineered environment that's around you, having nothing to do with sunlight, as the light source that remains over you, having nothing to do with the operation of the natural environment or the conduct even remotely similar to the sun. It is as intentional as stalking with audible activity, with your every movement, operation of your communication device, with every act for purposes of documenting the entity, which is speaking to the intent that the entity engages in to commit sexually violent acts against the targeted individual. It is currently 10:24 a.m. This is P.O.C. And what the entity is doing right now in helicopter, that's exactly what speaker companies, SCI, via text messages. This is a criminal use of communication devices on the venue of the internet, while all of an entity is keeping me under surveillance in violation of Title 18. And so that is who, and this is where the ongoing stalking while the entity is observing my documentation, which is putting all of them in federal prison. Only a psychopath would continue to engage in such terrorism. That is unlawful, and that is being proven even to your own demise. You don't continue to engage in terrorism. You, under all circumstances, must cease. And since you are dealing with an animal that are the people of the state, then you are going to place animals where they belong as they pose that threat to the safety. That is the people of the state, including Heather Till, threatening my life, seeking to obstruct justice, thinking that you can silence. You are in the shoes of the state. You are also a group stalker, a terrorist who has no lawful basis under any circumstances to silence one who is enforcing their rights against the unlawful interference, first of all, with quiet enjoyment, but also the ongoing terrorism that she represents, which represents speaker companies who are in this is what all of the people of the state are doing. Speaker companies just doing it as a commercial actor, and I'm going to drain the pockets of speaker companies. They engage in Title 18 group federal stalking, and they're engaged in group stalking. And let me be clear, the employees of speaker companies at SoCal are all documented group stalkers in concert with LAPD. They're all going to federal prison. It is currently 10:25 a.m. This is P.O.C.